Hello, today we're going to talk about numbers and expressions. First, let's talk about how to translate a phrase into an algebraic expression. In class, we filled out a word sort where we talked about different words and their meanings such as added to, difference, product, quotient, and you can use that in order to write your algebraic expressions. Here's a couple examples. Number 1 says 9 more than a number. So what that means is we want to go ahead and write an expression, and we just read it from left to right. It says 9, so we're going to have a 9 in our answer. And then the words more than indicate addition. And then when it says a number, we're not actually picking a number, but we're going to use a variable in order to represent that number, such as x. So 9 more than a number means 9 plus x. Number 2 says 12 minus a number. So using that same thought process, we're going to write 12 minus means subtraction. And then again, we see the words a number, and that would indicate a variable. So 12 minus x. Number 3, 10 less than a number. Now, this one is a little bit tricky. Less than does indicate subtraction. However, if we put a number in place of where it says a number, like let's say that we put the number 15. If I asked you, what is 10 less than 15? What would you say? That's right, you would say 5. 10 less than 15 is 5. Well, how do you get 5? Do you do 10 minus 15 or 15 minus 10? In this case, it's 15 minus 10. So it's kind of like switched around the order. So whenever you see the words less than, you want to do the old switcheroo. So our expression with the a number, okay, instead of the 15, that expression is going to be x minus 10. So anytime you see the words less than, fewer than, shorter than, those all indicate subtraction except in the opposite order. All right, number 4, the product of 3 and a number. Product indicates multiplication. And what are we multiplying? 3 and a number, so 3 times x. And the last one, number 5, the quotient of 6 and a number. Quotient indicates division. And what are we dividing? 6 and a number. So 6 divided by x. Nice job. The next part of this lesson focuses on the order of operations. If you think about cooking in the kitchen, in order to make a product, you need to follow a certain order. You need to follow a recipe. And it goes the same way when we're talking about solving problems in math. If you don't solve the problem in the right order, you're not going to get the correct answer. So in order to solve problems, we use PEMDAS, or the order of operations. And what this means is that if there are any parentheses in the problem, we always solve whatever is inside of those first, followed by the exponents, and then the multiplication and division. The reason these are grouped together is because if you have both multiplication and division, you always solve them left to right. So for example, if I had 10 divided by 5 times 2, since I have both multiplication and division, I'm going to solve this going left to right. So you don't always perform the multiplication first. Same thing with addition and subtraction. If you end up with both adding and subtracting, you always go left to right. So if I had 9 minus 3 plus 2, again, I'm going to go left to right. Let's go ahead and solve a couple problems together, and then you can practice some on your own. So for this first problem, we just kind of go through our little checklist here, parentheses. There are no parentheses in number 1. However, there are exponents, which is next. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 2 to the third, which remember doesn't mean 2 times 3, it means 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. So underneath there, we're going to put an 8. And then what I'd like you to do is bring everything else down in the problem that we haven't used yet. Once you do that, then you can kind of reevaluate where we are. So we did our exponents. Next is the multiplication and division, which in this case we have both multiplication and division. So if you remember right from the last slide, we're going to do these from left to right. So 48 divided by 8 is 6, times 3 is 18. Bring down what we haven't used, and then the last step will be to add 18 and 5. So our answer is 23. Let's go ahead and try another one. With the second problem, again, we start with parentheses. And here we have two sets of parentheses, and since they're far enough apart, we can actually solve what's in the parentheses at the same time. So 8 minus 3 is 5, and 3 plus 2 is also 5. Now we're going to bring down the rest of the stuff we haven't used yet. And it looks like we have 5 times 3 times 5. So since it's all multiplication, we can multiply in any order, because with multiplication you can do that. 5 times 3 times 5 is 75. So the answer to number 2 is 75. Okay, let's go ahead and try a couple more here. Now on number 3, if you notice, we don't just have parentheses, but we also have brackets. In this case, parentheses and brackets do go at the same time, except if you notice inside your brackets, you have a set of parentheses. And so what we're going to do is we're going to solve what's inside those parentheses first. 6 minus 2 is 4. Now very carefully bring down what we haven't used yet. So we have a 12 and a division sign. We have those brackets. Don't forget that we have this exponent on the outside of the brackets. And in front, we have a 4. Now we're not done solving what's inside the brackets, so that is the next step. 12 divided by 4 is 3. We do have a 4 in the front, and then again that exponent of 2. Now, inside the brackets, there's not actually a problem to solve, which means that we're done with the first step, and now we go on to the second step, which is exponents. 3 to the second power is 9, and then since the 4 is right next to the bracket, that means multiply. 4 times 9 is 36. Nice job. Now, I'm going to need to erase some of this work here in order to do number 4, because I have found that the easiest way to do the problems that have fractions involved, like this one is set up, is to kind of do an upside down tornado on the top. So we're going to work our way up, and then on the bottom we're going to do our tornado form going down the page. So when you have this big fraction that you need to solve, what you're going to do is you're going to solve everything on the top using order of operations, everything on the bottom using order of operations, and then divide the two numbers that you get. So we are going to get a numerator and a denominator for this problem. Alright, so on the top there are no parentheses or brackets, so we're going to first do our exponents. 2 to the 5th power. Remember that means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, not just 2 times 5. So if we work this out, we get 4 times 4 times 2, which is 32. Now bring up everything that we haven't used yet. And now we continue with our order of operations. After exponents is multiplication and division. So we're going to multiply 6 times 2, which is 12. And then lastly subtract 32 and 12, which is 20. So our numerator is 20. Now let's go ahead and solve the denominator. Again, there's no parentheses in the denominator, so we're going to skip to our exponents. We have 3 to the 3rd power. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. Bring everything else down, and now that we're done with the exponents, we're going to do all of our multiplication or division. So right here in the middle, we have a 5 times 3, which is 15. And then the last step now is to add or subtract. In this case, it's just subtraction. So 27 minus 15 is 12, minus 2 is 10. So our denominator is equal to 10. The very last step now is to divide our numerator by our denominator, and our final answer is 2. Okay, so now that we've walked through some problems together, I would like you to pause this video, go ahead and try problem numbers 5 through 8, and then play the video again to check your answer. Okay, let's see how you did. For number 5, no parentheses, so we're going to go ahead and do exponents. 6 to the second power is 36. After exponents, we do multiplication and division. So here, this is going to equal 9. And then adding and subtracting, we're going to go left to right. So 3 plus 9 is 12, minus 5 is 7. All right, for number 6, we have parentheses, so we can do them at the same time. So we have 11 for this one and 4 over here. Multiplication sign in the middle, and then a 2 in front of the 11. The 2 right next to the parentheses for the 11, that means multiply. So 2 times 11 times 4 is 88. All right, number 7. Inside the brackets, we're first going to multiply. 2 times 2 is 4. Being very careful to bring everything down accurately, we're going to finish what's in the brackets. That would be a 1 to the second power. Now there's nothing to do in the brackets, so we're going to go ahead and do the exponents. 1 to the second power means 1 times 1, which is 1. And then multiply by 3. So our answer for number 7 is 3. Okay, last problem, number 8. Let me move some of this out of the way so we have some space. All right, number 8. Looking at the top, the numerator, we're first going to do our exponents. 3 times 3 times 3, which is 27. Next, after exponents, multiplication and division. So 27 minus 12 is 15. On the bottom, 2 to the 5th power, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 32. Looks like we're missing a multiplication sign there in between the 5 and the 3. Sorry about that. Now we're going to go ahead and multiply. 5 times 3 is 15. And then subtract all the way across. 32 minus 15 minus 2 is 15. So we end up with 15 in the numerator, 15 in the denominator. 15 divided by 15 is equal to 1. Nice job.